This is Jim calling in from Canada. Jim, what's going on?
Not much. I'm calling in. I'm a recent atheist, and I was a very, very, very serious fundamentalist Christian. Part of my deconstruction was part of my sexuality. At one point in my life, I had actually convinced myself to stop masturbating and stop being involved in, those evil activities. And when I saw the poll tonight, was sex addiction real? I know addiction is real. I've lost friends to addictions. I've lost friends to alcohol, and I've lost friends to drugs.
Sorry to hear that.
But, it is tried to help those people, but, some people get on paths and you can't help them. But where I am with that is, I was more or less taught that the activities I was involved in as a theist, as a fundamentalist Christian, were wrong. And what I would like to know, I kind of made my comments to the call screeners, but, where is the line drawn? Because I've never gone into a realm where it's been a problem. And I've always had trouble with the lines blurring for me. At what point am I wrong? To say, I have a problem now when I'm not causing.
Talking about sex specifically.
Absolutely.
Right.
How much sex is too much sex?
Yeah. Okay. Just clarifying.
Yeah. And when does it become a problem? When it's always consensual. And that's the key. When it's consensual, and there's no harm being done to anybody, and you're always taking precautions. When is it a problem?
Yeah, I mean, for something to be a problem, it has to cause an issue, right? Like if everybody is having a good time and nobody is having any distress, then it's not a problem. If you are in a circumstance where you are having sex 5 to 10 hours a day, fantastic. Good for you that you enjoy that and that you found a way to facilitate that. But now I'm going to ask the question, are you enjoying that? Is it making your life better? Is it keeping you from earning a living? Like, is that a problem in your life? Is it keeping you from having meaningful relationships? Is that a problem in your life? Is it keeping you from finding fulfillment in other things? Like, I want you to show me the problem, and there very well may be one. Absolutely. But, there's not a number anywhere. It's just a question of where's the distress. I mean, we like to joke that a sex addict is just anybody who has more sex than the person they're talking to. But in reality, you're not struggling with an issue or a problem unless it's actually causing like damage or distress or discomfort or unhappiness in your life or, in the people around you. And that gets into like moral philosophy and ethics and maybe outside of the realm of psychology. But ultimately, if everybody is having a good time, fantastic. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, no, that was kind of my point. Because I look at everything when you were programmed as I was, as a theist, and but how everything is wrong. When you start separating from church and you start enjoying your life and nobody's getting harmed and you're enjoying it, sometimes it's hard to get past those things. But everything I've done has been consensual. There hasn't been an issue. Nobody's harmed. Like that's where I kind of struggle a bit. I have no doubt that at some point sex addiction can cause an issue in people's lives. I've got educated. I have a great job. I've done everything in life. I'm moving along. I'm in my 40s. But when you constantly hear these things, sometimes it plays on you. But that's what I kind of wanted to hear. And I know, Christy, I've heard that you were actually a therapist. So is really what I wanted to hear. Like, at what point? I mean, if it's not causing harm, and it's not risking people's health, I'm not
you got it, Jim.
A day.
You got it. You figured it out, right? You like me, where you come from a tradition of Christianity that says that you have desires, and because you have desires, you are broken. And that you're a sinner,
Yep.
and that you need to be saved from these desires because it's not right for you to have those desires. And so that's where that guilt comes in. And that's where that, well, is it wrong that I want to have sex comes in? Like I'm having these thoughts. And the truth is, not really. Not if you're doing it responsibly, and not if it's something you enjoy and it's not harming your life in any way, like Christy's saying. But that can't work in Christianity because Christianity has to have some sort of control of your life. If you can have sex whenever you want, then what are you to do with this, prerogative? Like if man has his own desires, then what is the will of God? Like it doesn't work theologically. So that's why this sex comes into it. And if you want to look into it, I mean, name me a religion that doesn't have rules on sex, right? Like you could probably count them on one hand. I mean, honestly, it's most religions do talk about it because it is such a, I don't know, it's a powerful force. That sexual desire, I guess it can be, and people want to regulate that, and religion's how people have been regulating it, and now we have, I don't know, laws in a secular society, and that's doing okay. So it is.
Well,
Well,
in the last year, I've watched a lot of things, and Sam Harris said, we're this God Yahweh is obsessed with what we do when we're naked.
Sure.
Yeah. Sure.
And I think that's an important point. Like Dan, you pointed out that, there's a very small number of religions that don't have something to say about sexuality. And I might even suggest that as a sampling error on account of the fact that the religions that are successful, the religions that stick around, the religions that become big enough for us to talk about them are the ones that insert themselves between us and a healthy natural desire.
Yeah,
it's why we, see God with so many policies on what we should eat, or on how we should dress and protect ourselves from shelter from the cold. Like God wants to be involved in the things that we need, or humans create ideas around God being involved in the things that we need, and then those ideas get propagated again and again and again.
That's another thing too. It's interesting because food is the other thing that other religions talk mostly about. Now, we don't often think about that way because Christianity is actually the exception to the rule. Mainstream Christianity is, because we're very lax when it comes to food policy. But if you look at Islam, and if you look at even the history of Christianity itself, there are lots, and Judaism, there's lots of regulations on food because that's the other thing society has been built on, like sex, food, and shelter. And those are the things that religion talks about. So it was a controlling force in the world. And that's why you grew up the way that you did, and I grew up the way that we did, because we're the leftovers of those traditions that are hopefully going away. But I don't know, maybe not. We'll see. Anyway, Jim, it was a great call. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for calling in. Appreciate it, and hope you have a great rest of your night.